You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
You're listening to Rev Jeremy
and Georgia
on iCannabisRadio.com.
You know, that's just not fair.
Why?
I don't have a thing.
You don't have a thing?
Yeah, like you're Reverend Jeremy.
Oh, I was going to say women were born with things. It's just on the inside.
My thing is more special than your thing.
Just because your thing can reproduce things, but my thing makes the seeds to reproduce the things.
Yeah, but if I go plink to your thing,
it hurts really bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you go plink to my thing,
you're like, whatever. That's true.
Like we ride horses and stuff.
You know, it always amazes me when you see a dude riding a horse. It's like, you know, how does that work out for you? You know, you spend your whole life riding a horse. Your boy's got to be beat up.
I think he throws it over his shoulder while he's riding.
Well, that's the thing. The dong can take quite a beating.
Oh, it can?
Yeah, the
balls.
It's
the friends.
The balls, the boys. You know, the balls. The boys, they just don't like that. It hurts. It's owie god. It's all over the assy nipple balls and stuff.
And you know, girls like to talk about like threaten.
Are you okay?
You know what? I didn't come dressed the way that I was dressed earlier. I forgot some parts.
Well, at least you have pants on. I mean, it's not like one of them weird dreams where you show up and you're like, shit. I mean, that would have been fine here, but...
No, I would never sit in these chairs without pants on.
No, yeah, that's true.
No.
That's very true.
But I lost my train of thought. So anyway, you have a name, Reverend Jeremy, and so when Alyssa says, you're listening to Reverend Jeremy, and then Gavin says, and Georgia, I just sound like
but Georgia's enough. When people know you... They know. They're like, damn, it's Georgia. I mean, it could be like the ravishing Georgia, but
I'm not ravishing. I'm ravished. I'm hungry.
Isn't
pretty
that
regularly?
Sure. Okay.
I don't know. That's what you meant, though. Why is it that apples don't like me?
Because you just got to know how to finger it correctly.
Well, that's apparently a problem of mine. I just wanna do that. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you're the best.
You've got to sweet talk it first. You gotta love it.
You know gentle. What? I'm all about being honest, and if I'm not feeling you, I'm not feeling you. That's what I gotta say. So,
what does that mean?
I don't know. I'm trying to pretend like I'm logged in here. Why doesn't this let me? Georgia and Boone. Okay, and it still doesn't want me to. It doesn't want me to be on today. Add effects. No, I don't want to do that either. God darn it! Today, this has been a crazy day, and I got to tell you why. Return to the chat box. Okay. Never mind. People, I'm just not going to chat with you. That's all there is to it. You want me to chat? That's too bad because DeCast won't let me. And you know what? So let's see. We almost didn't get a chance to broadcast tonight because it was all funky. But I woke up with a craziness. Would you like to know what happened this morning?
Absolutely.
So, we have expanded our family a lot lately. We got an extra dog. We've talked about the puppy. Well, my friend Jesus gave Gavin 2 bearded dragons for Christmas. Bearded dragons are desert lizards, and they look like dragons, and they are, 18 inches long. We have a male and a female. Guess what happens when you have a male and a female?
I have no idea.
They mate.
Oh.
Yeah. And you know what? When dragons do it, it is not pretty. It is bite you, smack you. It is not something that Gavin's constantly tapping on the glass telling Steve to get off of Fiona. And finally he gave up doing that. And I walked in and I tapped on it. I'm like, Steve, get off of Fiona. And Gavin's response is they just do that. I'm like, I don't want to have a sex ed talk with my 9-year-olds in relation to lizard sex. So anyway.
The best way to do it, I mean, and nature's doing it right in front of you. You just point out what's natural. I mean, I'm sure that the boy already knows that if you pull the trigger of a gun, you might kill somebody. Or that if you stab somebody, they might die. So you might as well educate him as to the positive sides of things.
Sure, that's the way to look at it. I don't want him to think that biting Fiona's neck until her scales fall off is what women like.
No, well, some women. But
I don't want him to start off there.
No, God, he should not start off with women that rough.
So So anyway, I figured at some point Fiona was going to be pregnant and lay eggs. But I don't know anything about this because I know nothing about bearded dragon reproduction. Love.
Bearded dragon love.
And so what do you do nowadays when you're trying to figure out something, educate yourself on it? You Google it. So I watched some YouTube videos on how to tell if your bearded dragon is pregnant. And so just this weekend, I picked up Fiona and I was like, no, it doesn't look like she's gained much weight or anything. And she hasn't been acting crazy like they say that they do. And they showed that if you rub their belly, you can feel the eggs. So I rubbed her belly and like, I don't feel any eggs. I just feel scales. So, if she's pregnant, she's not very pregnant. Fast forward to this morning, and Warren walks into our son's bedroom. Get out of there. Where the bearded dragons live. And he said, Georgia, you need to come here right now. So I thought something was wrong with the bearded dragons. So I run in and I count them 1, 2. They look fine. They're breathing. The light's on. They've got food. There's some styrofoam in the corner, but I don't really think anything of that. There's some styrofoam in the corner.
Uh-oh.
There are 16 pieces of styrofoam in the corner. She laid eggs last night.
Oh, yay.
16 eggs. I mean, the lizard she's only that big around. 16 eggs. And they're about the size of the tip of my thumb, from my thumb to my first knuckle. And about that big around.
Holy shit.
They're not little eggs. I mean, she's little.
I was picturing little fish eggs.
No.
Like little styrofoam pieces.
No.
Like a little clump of styrofoam.
No, like a styrofoam peanuts size. That's what it looked like.
Holy crap.
So I immediately text my friend Jesus, who gave the bearded dragons to Gavin, and I was like, fix this. Fix this. He has yet to respond to me. So since I got on YouTube to figure out what to do, how to figure out if she was pregnant, I thought the best thing to do was also to get on YouTube to figure out what to do with eggs, because it was so successful the first time. Sorry, it's just I gave him a bone, and that was a bad idea. Good.
Yeah, it's like 2 children.
Yeah. So long story longer. I have to wait. So this is like 8 o'clock in the morning when we discover this. I have to wait until the reptile store opens at 10 to call them to figure out what to do. So I've got 2 hours while these eggs, I know they're not warm enough. I know they're not in, they're not buried enough. And I don't know if they're going to eat them. I don't know if they're going to pay attention to that. I don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, I called Snails and Tails in North Glen, Colorado, lizard experts. Do you know what?
Huh.
They'll incubate them for you.
Really?
You take the eggs to them.
What if you just forget to go back?
They'll be happy because then they'll sell them.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Can you sell the eggs to them?
They will purchase the birthed babies.
Ooh.
Now, the sad thing is that this was, as far as we know, this was her first clutch, they call it, the first laying of eggs. And most of them were probably not going to develop. They weren't perfectly formed like they're supposed to, and they were sort of soft. But some of them will. Bearded dragons. So we're taking orders. They're really cool.
Do you have any purple ones? I'd like a purple one.
You can paint them purple.
Yeah.
Actually, probably couldn't because
It'll just absorb and they'll just die.
They'll die. But they're very cool.
Only
they're
if
really.
Never mind. I was going to make a lead paint joke. I'm sorry.
Oh, you could food color them. But they're very loving. And in fact, this weekend when I was trying to see if she was pregnant or not, I had her on my shoulder and I was like, oh, Fiona just wants to snuggle right now. She doesn't just want to snuggle. She was conserving her energy because she was about to birth 16 eggs.
Nothing about that seems pleasant. I mean, not that having a baby is pleasant. I just was reading a friend's post from the other day that said that they just had a new baby and it's 9 pounds, 10 ounces. And it was like, ah, I hope your vagina's okay. Because that's huge. That's a big.
Remember what we were talking about earlier, that, you they can take a licking and keep on taking.
Yeah, like that's worship worthy.
Yeah.
Right there. I mean, I don't mean to betray my own species, but how men entirely ended up in charge is fucking beyond me. So
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'm with you.
Anyways.
I'm with you.
I mean,
anyway.
we try. We just don't do very well.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie, but that's totally obvious. I'm not stating some well-kept secret. Like, we've been fucking shit up for centuries now.
You want to know what else is cute about my whole bearded dragon story?
Of course.
Speaking of men.
Uh-oh.
So remember how I said that Steve is rough. He's taking care of her now. And I asked the guy at Snails and Tails if that's normal. And he's like, yeah, I mean, he's like snuggling with her and they're cuddling. He's keeping her warm. Yeah, I brought a bunch of crickets and she ate a ton, so she's doing well, but.
Good. Well, that is a good story. As far as that goes, I was curious what had happened, what made your day weird, but I could see how that would change things. You're already 2 animals up, and you're like, I don't know.
16 more is ridiculous.
16 more, so now you'd be up to 18 if they all develop and go.
So I made the mistake of watching a YouTube video of a bearded dragon laying eggs, physically laying an egg.
But that was fun.
It wasn't something I needed to see.
I've seen both my 2 daughters be born. That was more than I needed to see.
Oh.
That particular area do.
Yeah, Warren saw me get a C-section and my guts taken out and put into a container next to, yeah.
Wow.
And he didn't make a face the entire time. Like, he managed
I'm gonna
to
give Warren a big hug next time I see him. And anybody who, like, that was definitely a way to put it. Like, that took the wind all out of my how I was thinking about it. It's like, yeah, what I saw wasn't so bad.
Oh, it's pretty beautiful. It's hard when it's someone that you know and love to watch that happen.
That's more what because it in and of itself was fascinating.
Yeah,
obviously, because it's like, wow, that's how I started. But it's the worst thing to watch somebody suffer that much when you care about them, knowing that they're doing something good. That's even harder.
Right.
So, yeah.
It was. It's been quite a day. It's been quite a day. You know, we do have a guest today who has nothing to do with the bearded dragon community.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, or not. I don't know.
No, I think it's good. I think I'm done talking about bearded dragons. I was feeling a lot of anxiety because I didn't know if these eggs were going to survive. I didn't know if I had been gone for too long and I was going to. Something was going to happen by the time I was able to get them to the incubator. But now that they're incubating and it's out of my hands, I feel much better. But I feel like maybe I'm done talking about the bearded dragons.
It's still a good story.
I'm sure Fiona wants nothing to do with me since I was not there for her.
I don't think they care. But maybe they look up at you now and they're like, fucking let me down, you whatever you are.
Right?
I don't know.
Steve eats out of my hands.
Oh.
He likes me.
Well, that's good.
Women
don't like other women.
I like other women a lot.
Doesn't seem to matter what species.
I like women.
Well, you're one of the rare ones. Because even cartoon women don't like other cartoon women.
I know, it's really hard. That's a whole nother show.
It is, but we could pull it off one month.
I think we
one
could.
Week,
I think we could.
Could be fun.
Well, let's do it when I'm ovulating.
All right.
Yeah, we'll talk about it then. But having nothing to do with any of that, we have Mike Cutler back on the show, who hasn't been on since you and I have been co-hosting together. Mike is a wonderful attorney out of Massachusetts, and he has been involved in the medical marijuana system build from the get-go. And, it's been kind of crazy. They finally gave out their licenses, and there has been a lot of interest and disappointment, as well as disappointment by legislators in Massachusetts, feeling like they were sort of duped by some companies. And so we're just gonna get the scoop from Mike when we come back from this break. And if you want a bearded dragon, let me know.
Yeah.
The law offices of Edson, Maiden, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
You're listening to Reverend Jeremy
and Georgia
on iCannabisRadio.com.
Hi, welcome back. That was pretty funny, Jer.
That was fast.
Yeah, that's just big plume of smoke.
Right, and we're back.
and we're back. So we're gonna give Mike Cutler a ringy dingy right now, and get him to give us. We're gonna ask him a little bit about what the process was in Massachusetts, and then how it materialized into the craziness that it is. And hi, Mike. You're live on the air with Georgia and Jeremy.
Very well.
How are you?
Just fine. I'm watching, so I'm just waiting to come on.
Great. Well, you're on live. There's a little bit of a delay, so you're going to want to turn down your volume. So welcome. I haven't had you on in several months, and there's been so much going on. You've been a busy, busy man.
Well, I've just turned down the volume so I can listen to this in real time. Yes, things have been very busy here in Massachusetts, and I think your stories about difficult and unexpected birthing is a great segue to talking about the Massachusetts process.
Yeah, painful birthing. So can you give us a little bit of, you've done this in the past, but a little bit of a history about what the process was for Massachusetts to be ultimately issued a license?
Sure thing. Back in May of last year, the DPH issued regulations describing how the application process would work. At the end of August, it was in the middle of August, about a week before the Justice Department issued its forbearance, and had this entry period ended a week after the Attorney General expressed his forbearance, the applications might have doubled or tripled or quadrupled. But as it were, about 180 people filed in August for applications for a dispensary operation. Dispensary operation in Massachusetts includes both cultivation and retail, vertically integrated, so that you're expected to grow virtually everything that you sell. There was provision made for for one entity owning up to three licensees, three places for retail from a single cultivation point. The other parameters were no more than 35 licenses in the first year, no more than 5 licenses in any of the 14 counties in Massachusetts, although the 4 smallest counties, being the westernmost county, Berkshire, at 130,000 people in population, Franklin County with 70,000, Martha's Vineyard with 16,000, and Nantucket with 11,000 were all expected to get no more than one dispensary, although actually 2 might be possible in Berkshire County because it's sort of a long county. But those are sort of the outer parameters. 180 applications were filed, and those were put in with a $1,500 non-refundable filing fee, but it's set up. Those people all had to have their nonprofits organized. You have to operate your dispensary as a nonprofit, and that process then led to a deadline of November of last year, by which I think it was the 22nd, if my memory serves me, and by that date, people had to put up an additional $30,000 non-refundable and had to have $500,000 roughly per outlet. If you're going for multiple outlets, you needed multiples of the $500,000.
Wowza.
To be considered in the next round of licensing. So 100 people filed under those kind of strictures. And after that, the applications were somewhat different than other states' applications, because as opposed to being able to put in just about any information you wanted to, most of the information was text box limited to a fixed number of characters.
Oh, wow.
So that you couldn't write a book. You had to be pithy. That was sort of the one learning experience Massachusetts took from the other places.
Yeah.
What they ended up doing was they, without disclosing this to anybody until after they'd done it, they hired a management consulting company with absolutely no experience in the cannabis industry to score all these applications.
Shut up.
It's disclosed. I mean, it's out now, so it's not a secret. The people, despite not having a sense of what the growth amounts per area or the use amounts per patient were, so that some of these people that got licensed calculating a third of an ounce per month per patient. I mean, that's the grow capacity for the biggest the guy that got 3 licenses. That's his grow capacity. So just to start out, so the scoring was done by this international management consulting company, which, by the way, had been engaged to do consulting for another part of state government and canned from that job.
Okay.
But somehow they got this job. And they were also given the names of the applications without any names attached to them, although there is some guesswork going on, particularly by virtue of the highest scoring person a group that got the 3 licenses. He also had the 3 highest scores of any other competitor that they might have leaked the answers to him in advance. I mean, I say that only as a way of inferring how was it that he got the highest scores for his applications. But I don't have any knowledge that any cheating was done. But there's been a steady drip since the announcement on January 31st of the successful licensees. Every day has been a new revelation on the front page of the Boston Globe, and it's beginning to, it looks like it may be unraveling. It may not, but it's still a fluid process. In any event, on January 31st, 20 licenses were awarded, including several people who got multiples. The highest scores were all obtained by a former criminal prosecutor. And by the way, he's not the only former criminal prosecutor that's involved with a successful licensee, to show that these people have no shame and no sense of irony, that the people they once prosecuted they're now trying to make a profit off of.
Yeah.
This prosecutor was the congressman for many years from the Cape area, and has now become a full-time lobbyist. And he is. He was the successful winner in 3 counties with this very high score. The state did a cutoff, and they gave licenses essentially to the top 20 people with scoring, absent people who were located right next to each other. They then found that in the 4 lowest population counties, that none of the people there had qualified, had got enough points on their applications, so that for these very somewhat insular communities like Nantucket and the Vineyard and Franklin County and Berkshire County out here, they invited the higher point finishers from other parts of the state to resubmit applications for those 4 counties. Now, that's what they publicize. What they haven't publicized, but which has been confirmed, is the next 8 top vote getters were also invited to clear up problems in their applications and also resubmit. So there may be as many as 14 groups that are still involved in this process, going after perhaps as few as 4 licenses in the lowest counties. So if you scheduled your financial planning to be in a place with a population in excess of 200,000 people, which is every other county in Massachusetts, you're now limited to applying to Berkshire County, which has 130,000 people at the top end, or Nantucket, which has 11,000 people in it at the bottom end. And that's sort of what's going on there. Getting back to Congressman Delahunt's winning bids, apart from the fact that he got, he did get the three highest scores in the scoring process, he miraculously received an almost perfect score, despite the same perfect score for location support, despite the fact that one of the towns that he is proposing to put the dispensary has a moratorium in effect.
Oh.
So how did he get that high score? We don't know, because it would seem on the face of what the rules were that if you had a moratorium in your town, you would lose points.
Right.
But he gained those points. He's also the guy that calculated 1/3 of an ounce per patient per month as a use rate for his capacity. He also had on his initial application, as a member of his management team and cultivation expert, someone who purportedly was an expert from California cultivation activities. On the second round, you had to submit your executive management team to a background check, and they pulled this guy out of his off his emergency management team, off their executive management team, and made him a consultant, so they wouldn't have to do a background check on him. Turns out, the Globe found out, this guy's got a recent personal bankruptcy, and none of his California connections for experience in the industry could be confirmed.
Oh.
So, and the other thing that's been disclosed about by Delahunt in responding to press questions about how this happened was that he really knows nothing about the industry. He candidly admitted that. And he's also going to have nothing to do with the day-to-day operations of the place. He candidly admitted that. For this process of sort of being the figurehead titular top of this nonprofit pyramid, because it's supposed to be nonprofit with reasonable salaries and the savings, reinvested profits going to a sliding scale medicine for indigent patients. For his role in leadership of this entity, for which he has no experience and will have no hands-on operational control, he's getting himself a $250,000 salary.
Nice.
Which he said he's going to defer for the first year. So,
how thoughtful.
He's a sweet guy.
Right.
So what we've got is, so the other things that have come out over the last 2 weeks has been successful applications have been disclosed, and local politicians, local city councilors and mayors who were noted as being in support of their application, many of them have said that they were given different paperwork to sign, so that they never knew that they were being used as endorsers of a particular applicant.
And was this in more than one application? I know that I've heard of this happening in one. Was this?
Oh, this is in about 6 of the applications. This has been said. Now, I will say that a lot of these people, these local legislators who say they're being duped, it's hard to say that who's the duper, who's the dupee.
Right.
And some of them have only slipped because they've found out that they've got some local opposition that they didn't plan on. But only about a third of the cities and towns in Massachusetts, or actually less than that, passed moratorium or other kind of obstacles. Many cities and towns said, "Come on down. We've got some depressed areas. We've got some vacant warehouse space. We've got some rundown neighborhoods. Please place your facilities and give us some jobs and some real estate development activity in these otherwise more urban areas." So there are plenty of places in the state that are welcoming to both the new business and to a place for patients to have a safe place to get their medicine. So the only other observation I'd make about the award of these 3 licenses to this fellow who's qualified only by way of his political connections, and also by virtue of the fact that he did fundraising for his congressional campaigns. Fundraisers for his congressional campaigns were held by the commissioner of the agency that granted the licenses. It was several years ago, but there's that collusion, or appearance of collusion, I should say. If the agency and the governor had wanted to throw a monkey wrench and delay the implementation of this law, they could not have done a more conscious way of doing that than to have given 3 licenses to someone who was so clearly, shall we say, disconnected from either experience in the business or having any hands-on operation, and someone who was so politically connected.
Yeah.
In other words, this may be something of a poison pill action by the agency. That's a cynical view of this. There are plenty of people that got licenses that are eminently qualified, and I don't mean to tar them with the same kind of brush that is being that the kind of problems that Delahunt, this congressman, has been reported to have in the front page of the Globe. But it is to say that there are a lot of people who are very angry about this process, about the lack of experience or expertise of the people that are grading these applications, and about the kind of process that went into giving multiple licenses to a few people when there were so many clearly qualified people that there are like 14 people on this runner-up list. I mean, they could have avoided a lot of this hue and cry by spreading the licenses around and allowing this process to get up to speed a lot more quickly than may be the case now. There's still 4 counties, the entire western part of the state, where there's, including the western part of the state and the 2 islands offshore, where there's nobody's been approved, and it'll probably be another 2 or 3 months before those places get approved licensees, although some of these 14 people on the bubble could make it in sooner than some of the other people. That's for something of that important to nature to be completely unknown at this point is pretty remarkable, but it's sort of anybody's guess when those slots are going to get filled in. For the people that have the licenses, medicine may be available by July.
Wow.
That's sort of the expectation. I mean, anybody who's got a license would be well advised to start doing their build-out right away, just in case they try to do a do-over. Get your expenses into the ground and make it harder to unring the bell, so to speak, of the licensing decision. And we'll just have to see how quickly people hit the ground and with the successful licenses and how things shake out. But that's the situation from Massachusetts, where more than $3 million in application fees later, we still don't know if we have final applications. The legislative leadership has called for hearings into this to see if they can't compel the governor to do a do-over. There are people who lost out in the process, several $100,000 worth of application vendor fees and application fees into the process, who are considering bringing litigation.
Sure.
For a $3 million counting up the total number of application fees process, the state kind of didn't pull the trigger real well and didn't hit the target real clearly.
It sounds like it. So I've got a few more questions. Mike, can you stay on the line while we take a quick break?
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back. You're listening to Cannabis Radio, and this is Mike Cutler, our guest from Massachusetts, on the crazy licensing process. We'll be right back. High up in the Rockies is beautiful Frisco, Colorado. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies is a medical marijuana center with compassion for Colorado's medical patients. Looking for great meds grown organically in soil? You've come to the right place. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies is just off I-70 at exit 203. Check them out at the web at www.mmrockies.com. Their ever-changing strain and clone selection is updated on the website daily. When making a trip to the mountains, no matter the season, stop by Medical Marijuana of the Rockies. Make sure you say you heard about them on iCannabis Radio. You can call 970-668-MEDS to get more information. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies, your mountain source for meds.
The law offices of Edson, Maton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188, or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Green Faith Ministry is for spiritual guidance, MMJ information, and networking combined with compassionate care on the way to enlightenment with all Green Faith sacraments. Green Faith provides charity assistance, including medical and food throughout the year. Contact them at greenfaithministry.com.
Hi, welcome back. Mike, thank you so much for waiting for us.
No problem, Georgia. How can I help?
So I just want to go back a little bit. It sounds like there isn't an appeal process per se, but there may be some sort of government do-over, or they might relook at the process. Is that what could potentially happen?
Well, there's two sort of ways out of this process, or there may be more. But first of all, the losers have a right to a sort of an exit interview with the department, and we've had some people through that process already, and they've sort of postured like they're open to listening, and they'll take back the information that they're being given at these exit interviews, but we have no confidence that they're going to recalculate any of the scores. 30 days after the either 40 days after the 31st or 30 days after your exit interview, your informal briefing about your scoring process, you have that's the deadline for filing a complaint for judicial review for the process. Complaints for judicial review are asking judges to get into the middle of an agency's process, and while it's possible to do, it's a very expensive process, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you will be rescored, or it might just mean that you get the chance to do it all over again. And so the definition of winning in court process is difficult to understand.
Yeah.
There are still these 14 groups that are sort of in the standby netherworld. They may make it into the list. Only 20 licenses were granted, and so there's potentially room to go up to 35 for many of these people to make it onto the list, although they're not going to be placing these dispensaries on top of each other. If two people have put in for the same town, and it's unlikely, no matter what their scores are, that both of them are going to get licensed for that town. So, how these other people surface and get back into the competition, or whether anybody on the denied list is going to be recalculated to get back into the competition, is anybody's guess right now.
Oh, that's crazy.
So that's sort of where appeals stand.
So this scoring process, did applicants know what and how? I mean, I know they didn't realize that an outside consulting company was going to be doing it, but did they know how they'd be scored and what the scoring process looked like?
Well, yes, they knew the number of points per answer that was on the application. There was some commentary on that process, but it's not clear, and so that people, the clients that we were working with through that process, we discussed answers and how best to posture an answer that went beyond the minimum and went up towards the maximum. But to a large extent, except for the issues of a letter of support from the municipality that you were seeking to locate your dispensary and or your retail or cultivation site in, outside of those things where there was some specification of what kind of letters and what type of aspects of municipal government were most favored by the agency. Outside of that limited area of specification, everything else was pretty general with some very general comments. And it's not clear that any of those comments went to the scoring people, or the same commentary that went to the applicants. And it's also not clear whether the scoring people were given a different set of criteria, which might explain some of the unusual scoring that occurred. So that's where things stand on the scoring, as far as I know.
Wow. So do you have a prediction? Do you think that this is going to get in the way of places being able to provide medicine for patients in July?
I think that there are a number of applicants, and I'd be willing to say the majority of the licensed facilities got high scores because they came in with good teams and backed up by people with experience in other states, and will be able to get to be up and running. We'll be able to get up and running. I doubt that category of competent applicants who are going to be up and running and have medicine available by July. I'm not sure that that's more than half of the 20 that have been licensed, but I think it could be as many as half, and maybe more than half. I mean, it's hard to say. Some of the, I haven't reviewed every single winning application yet. I've really been focusing on my own client's process, but for the time being, I think it is. There are a number of places that will have medicine available by July, but how many remains to be seen, and what other kind of problems develop along the way also remains to be seen. I mean, one of the things that seems to be clear is that the people that have the licenses no longer will have problems raising money, because there seems to be plenty of money around for even doing pure debt financing. This is not equity positions, because these are nonprofits. But notwithstanding that limitation on getting a profit out of it, there seems to be plenty of investors who are circling the licensees and willing to provide them funding. So if you got the license and you're competent, you can hire the right people to get you up and going.
Yeah.
Whether you have that on hand or get it from an investor, it seems like it's going to be doable. It's just a question of how screwed up some of these people are, and whether some of these people who were less than candid in obtaining their local support, whether there's going to be a lot of local opposition, because as they do the build-out, all these licenses are provisional. So the DPH is going to go back to all these applicants that they gave licenses to and do some due diligence, a little bit late perhaps, as to whether or not they were honest in their applications, whether they can deliver what they promised. Some people may get their licenses pulled on those grounds, because these are only provisional licenses. Other people who have not been straight up honest with their local municipalities may find, local municipalities have to sign off on things like building permits, right, and special permits for zoning and permits and the like, granting certificates of occupancy. If they feel they've been treated poorly, you can believe they're going to drag their feet on granting those permits.
Sure.
So even for people who may be competent in operation, if they weren't competent in soliciting local support, they may have some problems and delays in opening up.
Oh, well, very interesting, very interesting. I'm sorry that it turned out to be such a complicated process filled with potential lying and cheating. But welcome to the government, I guess.
Well, I just feel badly because I know of lots of people who put in a ton of personal money, who have enormous expertise in the cultivation, who have great sensitivity for patient needs. I can tell you that virtually all of my clients had personal stories about medical use in their families or personally, and they were all devoted to this process. And the idea that a former prosecutor, a lobbyist, and people who clearly spread a lot of money around were able to get an advantage in this competition is disappointing, and to the extent that former prosecutors are involved in it, it's the height of cynicism.
Sure.
And that's disappointing. But one of the aspects of this whole process has been, I think, to sort of normalize cannabis in Massachusetts, and I think that it makes the step from medical marijuana to non-medical marijuana a much shorter step in Massachusetts. We are an initiative state. We did more than 60% for decrim in 2008. We did more than 60% for medical in 2012. And by the way, both election years, medical marijuana reform ran 3 points ahead of President Obama. So, and also it passed in all but 2 of the 351 cities and towns, both times. So support for marijuana reform in Massachusetts is overwhelming.
Yep.
And you can be sure that in 2016, or reasonably confident that the funders will come back and do non-medical legalization, and that we will then in Massachusetts be there, and this medical process is a transitional phase that hopefully we get some of the kinks out, and next time around when we're doing it non-medically, it'll be a fairer process, and there'll be far better consumer access, and that will be a better deal notwithstanding the competition between THC strains and CBD strains. Having it legal and not relying on doctors to get permits will really be the true salvation for patients. Because in Massachusetts, we have very, very few doctors who are on board with this. There's still a lot of stigmatization professionally. Sure. The State Medical Society continues to campaign against this thing, even though they lost 2 years ago. They still say it's bad medicine and they don't want doctors participating. So it's going to be a tough slog until we have full-blown non-medical legalization in 2017.
Oh, wow. Well, crossing my fingers for you. As always, Mike, it's been fantastic. Please let people know how they can get in touch with you if they've got any legal needs your direction.
Well, the best way is over the internet through my website with my partner, Dick Evans. The website's name is Evans, EVANS, Cutler, CUTLER, one word, evanscutler.com. And we've got the phone number in the contact box in there, and we look forward to helping people out.
Thank you so much, Mike. It was wonderful to talk to you tonight. Have a wonderful evening.
Keep up the good work, Georgia. Talk to you soon.
And to you. Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Jeremy's enlightenment of the evening.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On Grass. Runongrass.com.
The National Cannabis Industry Association would like to thank its members who represent the leading professional businesses in America's emerging legal cannabis market. NCIA is the only organization that has unified legitimate cannabis business across the nation to fight for real reform in Washington, D.C. For more information or to make your business a member, visit us online at thecannabisindustry.org.
Hi, welcome back.
We're back.
We're back. So, we
haven't talked about something tonight that you should always, you've been really good at always bringing up every show.
I was just about to do it.
I know, but I just thought I'd have to
help
pick on you just a smidge.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
So, I called my dad and was telling my dad about my bearded dragon issue, and my dad is the only person in the world who was like, "Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun." My 80-year-old father wants to incubate bearded dragons, but then he also
sold.
Boom, yeah, right. Dad is, he's the Collmore and Cuffle Collmore and Company, and he was the first to provide insurance to the medical marijuana industry. And if you are a company who is not insured properly, or if you don't know if you're insured properly, you need to give them a call at 800-488-4302, 800-488-4302, or visit them online at cufflecollmore.com. Because did you know that you can get sued if someone buys something from your retail store and they get sick and you didn't even make it? It was something that a vendor made. They can sue you for that.
Yeah,
right? So it's not just slip and fall that you have to be responsible for. You've got to watch out in case someone gets sick from your product. You got to have crop insurance, all these kinds of things. And my dad is just so easy to talk to.
A lot of responsibilities if you want to play the game.
A lot of responsibilities, and not just, and some of them are marijuana specific, but some of them are just business things that people don't necessarily think about because we're so busy trying to follow every single rule and regulation. So definitely call Bob Collmore at cufflecollmore.com. There's a link to his webpage on our webpage as well. Yeah.
See, good. You almost forgot that tonight.
I know. I had 16 bearded dragon eggs.
So do you like doing that like as a live commercial, or should we do a recording one of these days? All right. Well, let's get that recorded here soon because I know that we need to replace a couple commercials.
Yes, good call.
So
good call.
We need to make some new ones. So
we have a friend in the chat room.
On that note, if you want your business advertised with us, contact us. We have no problems making a commercial for you and advertising it. Because that's how we roll. So
that's how we roll.
That's how we roll. So what were we talking about? Oh yeah.
We have so we have a friend in the chat room.
It was brought to our attention by somebody that doesn't live in Colorado.
Thank you.
That there's going to be a place here in Colorado, here in Denver, called Sensi Sweets. So I had to look it up. It's sensi-sweets.com. And there's not much information about it yet. It's still kind of new, but what it says is that we aim to provide safe accommodation and cannabis education to the projected 1 million cannabis tourists who will visit Colorado next year to exercise their Amendment 64 rights. Again, that's something, if you're thinking about legalizing marijuana and if you're thinking about legalizing cannabis in your state, make it an amendment to your state constitution.
Right.
That way, if anyone...
There's nothing they can do about it.
Right. It's an amended right. But on that note, it's my understanding that cannabis can't be illegal anyway, as it's part of the whole pursuit of happiness thing, and there wasn't an amendment that directly made it illegal, as alcohol was back in the 20s or whatever. So there's even a question, how can it even be illegal? But whatever. Another show.
Right.
So overall, this is kind of cool, thinking that there's a hotel out there that is aiming to let you smoke with them. I mean, it starts out by saying, we offer shuttle service, cannabis concierge, overnight suites, espresso bar, cannabis education, and weekly music events. Stay with us, toke with us. I mean, right there, you've got me.
Right?
I live here and I'll go stay there. You know, I mean, I can smoke weed where I live, but who cares? If I can go somewhere else and enjoy it too, power to the people. So I'm excited about that. So,
well, it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen that someone was going to be smart and thoughtful and think about catering to this.
There needs to be things like that. Like there's limo services that pander to the cannabis community. There's tourist companies now. There's all kinds of things that are starting to really kind of cater to the community much better. And once the food companies and the sugar or the sweets companies really figure it out, it's over.
It's over.
Because we're a food company's best friend. You know, you make a delicious treat, stoners are going to be your buddies. That's just how it works. So
look at food trucks outside of bars.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So imagine if Hershey's put a "We support legalization" on their wrapper, their stocks would quadruple. Of course, they couldn't because, it's corporate crap, and I'm sure they would never do that. But
right.
I often wondered what life would be like if they did.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's really exciting, and we'll find out more about Sensi Hotel, and maybe we'll have them on, whoever them are.
Right. So we'll see if we can get a hold of somebody from there and see if we can't strike up an interview.
Yeah.
And learn more about it, because this is awesome.
We like to talk to people.
We do.
And we're good at it too.
And if you've got a service where you're going to try to offer it for the cannabis community here in Colorado, we definitely want to know about it. I mean, it is what it is. I was going to say it's a dog-eat-dog world, but, as the dogs are over there eating each other's, heads and stuff.
Faces, I know.
But I don't even know what to say. It's so overwhelmingly exciting to think that this year could bring about all these amazing new things, that people could fly here. Now, there's not a designated airline yet, which I don't know why there isn't. There could be private airlines coming out soon that say, yes, come and fly and get high with us. Now, if you could, I would drive to another state just to take that airplane back to Denver, stay in the Sensi Suites,
right?
Fly back, get in my car and come home. That'd be a sweet little vacation. Just because you could do things legally that you're not supposed to do. You smoke weed in your hotel room, everyone panics. Oh, I don't want the maid to come in and bust me and, have them call the cops, and they come up to my room while I'm gone and blah, blah, blah. Or, you can't smoke anything on the airplane. I freak out, but I try to I try to vape my vape pen on the airline, and they're no. Which I understand. If people saw a little mist floating through the air, they'd freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
But
freak out.
In the airport, they don't care. I asked them. I asked the TSA people and then the airport security, and I'm like, this is a vape pen. Can I? And they're like, yeah, do whatever you want. I don't care. And so when I was getting on the plane, I'm like, can I? And they're like, And I'm like, okay, I figured. But still, I stick it under my shirt, and I pop it out, and I vape it, and then I ghost it, which is totally bad. But I get my nicotine. You could probably
wait for the couple of hours,
I totally could.
Yeah, you should.
But
remember how you said sweets are a stoner's friend?
Yes.
Can I tell you about my friend who makes sweets?
Yes, please.
So my friend MJ, has a new Etsy store
Okay.
called Hot Sugar Good Karma.
Okay.
She makes lollipops.
Hot Sugar Good Karma?
Hot Sugar Good Karma. They are beautiful, lovely, delicious lollipops. She makes them in flavors that kids love and flavors that adults love. And they are amazing. She's right here in Colorado, but she can deliver, or she can have shipped pretty much anywhere. Please, please, please check them out. I just got a Control Freak mixed pack, and I had just my favorite so far. I love the champagne one, and it's really pretty, but the pomegranate love potion, really nice.
There's a lot of different crazy concoctions.
My son really liked the clown poop.
That must have been one of these up here.
Yeah, so definitely check them out. I like to, flowers are pretty and all, but I like to give people gifts that are more interesting than flowers, like edible arrangements and those kinds of things. This is going to be my new thing. So I'm going to start giving some Hot Sugar Good Karma to people.
Nice.
So check her out.
These are pretty cool looking.
They're really pretty. They're really pretty. My girl MJ.
So next week I want to talk a little bit more about the temple project that I'm building, since I'm finally allowed to talk about it. We're almost out of time tonight, so I want to take a little bit more time than trying to press it through.
Yes.
But I did share a little bit. I did leak. No, that's totally fine, because I'm not ready to get totally
naked
for it yet. But I did put it out there into the Facebook world, so it's a little weird. Like, I, for the first time, feel a little weird sharing something. It's kind of a personal project, but
very personal.
I need funding for it, so I can get it to where I want it to be, and then we can get it up the mountain and set it on fire. So, I mean, there's already people that have commented, and they're like, "You're going to set it on fire?" Mm-hmm. And we're going to make it as beautiful as we can before we do, so that way when we burn it, it's people cry for people they've lost, and other people cry because we're burning something so amazing. But it's to represent the impermanence of everything. So
sounds wonderful, and we'll talk more about it next week for sure.
Absolutely.
This week on iCannabis Radio, we've got Wednesday, the Adam Dunn Show from 11:30 to 1:30-ish. Whenever Adam, 11:30, 1:30, yep.
I like the ish part.
Ish-ish. Thursday's our busy day, 2:30 to 3:30 in the lab with Jen. And then the Hemp Connoisseur magazine show from 4 to 5. And then, of course, Jeremy and I next Monday. I want to thank our sponsors, Edson Maton and Mats, Mile High Wellness, Noda Urban Garden Supply, Medical Marijuana of the Rockies, Run on Grass, and, of course, Cuffle Collimore and Company. I'm Georgia.
I'm Jeremy.
You're Reverend Jeremy.
I'm Reverend Jeremy.
I know, it's so cool.
We're 3 minutes early. Do we want to stop? It's so weird.
My boob itches.
Well, just do it on air. Look what I did last week. Just there you go. You don't have to be that subtle. I wasn't here. I won't look. It's all good.
You won't look.
So, look, there's a link in the thing, twitter.com/SensiSweets.
Oh yeah, so check that out. Thank you so much for posting that. Yeah. That's awesome.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm super excited to see
I am too.
What businesses
this year up. I want to really push for cannabis clubs this year. There needs to be somewhere where we can go hang out with people safely and legally and consume.
Well, and how about the people that come here as tourists who purchase? I mean, they
can't legally fly with it. They're not supposed to take it home. Where are they supposed to do it if we say no, it's legal, but you can't do it anywhere?
Right. Let's not put them in that kind of position.
Agreed.
Let's figure that out. And it sounds like maybe Sensi Sweets has done so.
I hope. I'm down to help fight and protect and to help change rules if need be, if we can do this.
Did you just do that?
So,
is that what you just did?
I don't think so. Maybe.
Maybe not like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what just happened.
Steve-esque.
Who?
Steve.
Who's that?
The
dragon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gotcha. So, all right. Well, all I can think about is that you have to go to the bathroom now, and I feel torturous for keeping you going.
No, I'm good. I can pee any day. I can only talk to you once a week. We're going skiing tomorrow, by the way.
Are you? Where at?
I'm not saying.
Well, that's good. It's probably better that way.
Yeah.
But I would have just said the mountains where there's snow still, because down here it was almost 70 today.
I know that's how I ended up not being dressed in the way that I needed to be dressed to be here.
Right. Last night was a little bit of a surprise. We went to the APO board meeting and came out and it was raining. Went in and it was 65 in Boulder, and came out and it was cold and rainy.
Raining in February.
And Which, right, and it was still like 45 or 48 according to my car. But hey.
Global warming.
We'll see how it all turns out. I still don't think it's people's fault, so. But maybe it is. People are we're dumb. I don't even want to get into that.
Well, I'd like to get into that and Apo next week.
Yes. Well, all right.
And maybe we'll talk about, I don't know, it'll be a surprise.
We'll talk about cannabis too.
Oh,
because
that's a good idea.
We should, since we're iCannabis Radio.
Right.
So
I like that.
I want to have Warren on sometime soon in the future to talk about this one guy I know. He's a really sweet lawyer.
So cute.
He's a hunk of man and stuff. But I'd like to get him on the show. Just to talk a little bit about some of the current laws.
But if you asked him, he'd come.
I bet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit him up, and we will have Warren on the show soon. It is now 8 o'clock Mountain Time. We have crossed the finish line. I've tortured you enough.
You know, I'm not tortured. I love it.
Well, then we should go another hour.
Just
there we go. That's what I was expecting. So, anyways, well, thank you guys for listening. Georgia, I love you. Thank you for doing the show.
Thank you. It's the best. Chris,
you're awesome.
Rock.
We love our producer.
And Elsa, who's out there somewhere from DeCast, thank you for rocking us tonight. Good night.
Good night.